well. This is hard to pick up with one hand. No good way to pick this up with one hand. Such a big box, I can't even fit it all the way in the frame. But, you can probably guess what we're building. It's Slave One. So, without further ado, let's build something that holds a lot of nostalgic value for me. Let's go. Okay, so now that the time-lapse portion is done with, it's time for the review. So let's start off with the minifigures. So to start it off, we have the 20 years anniversary Princess Leia, obviously based off of the first variant with the megaphone piece and the blue stud for the blaster, and the generic face design and the light brown hair. And of course the 20 years of LEGO Star Wars print on the back, just to kind of make sure that it is said Princess Leia. Now, here is Boba Fett. Now, probably my favorite character in all of Star Wars. I believe that he was pulled off completely right. Now, if I bring in my other Boba Fett from an earlier time, you can see that there are minor differences. The helmet looks pretty much the same, but the pauldron cape is different. The newer variant has some stripes. Now, as you can see, the torso prints are different. I believe this one's torso print is a bit more enlarged than this one, which is perfectly fine. I also feel like this torso is a bit more sharp on the edges and a lot more detailed. Now if we go down to the legs, you can see that they are about the same. Just a few minor differences, but it's about the same design. I just think this one is a bit sharper. Now, they have the same exact jetpack, nothing changed there. But if we look at the blasters, they are a bit different. We have the generic Star Wars pistol right here with a black hilt. For Boba's blaster. And then with this one we have the kind of sci-fi blaster that you see a lot with the Marvel sets and everything that isn't really Star Wars. And then we have another black hilt at the bottom there. So, throwing this old Boba Fett out of the way, because nobody cares about him, and placing this new Boba Fett aside, we can now go on to Zuckuss. Now, I don't know this character very well, but I believe that he may be a bounty hunter, as there are as I know that 4LOM is, in fact, a bounty hunter. So, seeing as this is the first variant that I have seen before, I really like the torso print. Along with the use of the dress piece, that looks very nice. I believe this is the first time I have seen dress printing on the back. I really like the mold for this helmet piece. At least that's what I believe it to be, considering that there is a lot of silver elements on said helmet. I really like this blaster design. I put this blaster design together a long time ago, and I've really liked it since. So, yeah, that's Succus. Now, if we go on to 4LOM, I believe that this character is a bounty hunter that is also a droid. And this is a very cool variant, as the older ones weren't as detailed. And this is definitely a droid, considering that most of it is filled with gunmetal and silver. And as you can see, that right there is wire printing. So I really like the head mold. I think these Star Wars heads are very neat, considering that I don't really see many often. I really like this mold. Now, lastly, we have Harrison Ford himself. I really like the Harrison Ford figures that they're coming out with these over the last year or so, as they made the new hairpiece and have a new head print. And it's really similar to Harrison Ford. It directly resembles his actual expression. And if you look at the leg printing, I swear I have this figure, but a 2010 variant. Because I've seen similar printing like this before, only on light brown legs instead of dark. And it did not have the belt as this one does right now. And if you look closely on the torso, we have some detailed pockets printed on. And the same sort of Han Solo pockets on the back. Now, Han Solo here has an alternate expression, as most Han Solos do. He has this face, which is the kind of generic, kind of focused or intensified look, as this one is the more casual grin, and he is armed with a standard Star Wars molded pistol. And of course, I don't know if you would count this as a minifigure, but we have Han Solo in carbonite. Now, I really like this piece. I really like it a lot. But I do have a problem with it. And that is, this is not the correct Han Solo. This is the 2010 Han Solo. Along with the fact that the printing also does not match up with this Han Solo. As you can see, like, if you look at this shirt, it is not as... Basically, those two shirts do not look the same whatsoever. I don't know why being in carbonite would make your shirt more wrinkly. I don't understand that. But the face does not have any likeness near this one. And this is probably just because molding new parts, especially as big as this piece, it costs a decent amount of money. Which is probably why they haven't done so already. Because if I was at LEGO, I probably would have done it just because it needs to match. It bugs me a lot, which is why I would do it. But I can see why they have not. Now, don't get me wrong, this is very, very awesome. I'm just kind of nitpicking it because of the fact that it really bugs me, especially since people that want to make an animation, that doesn't match. You would need to go frame by frame and kind of put this Han in there. And sure, it wouldn't take forever, but it would be very time consuming to do so, and I think it would just be a lot cooler and a lot easier if it would match. Especially since I don't think the Han Solos are going to change anytime soon. Because the likeness to Harrison Ford here is unbelievable. It's uncanny. And with the 2010 and below, it really didn't look like Harrison Ford. It represented Harrison Ford decently as Han Solo, but it did not look like the actor himself. It more took likeness to Han Solo than Harrison Ford. Now, of course, with this being a carbonite block, you can turn it over, and this is what the inside looks like. Obviously, you got the LEGO Group logos and stuff, but if you take off his blaster rifle or pistol, you can pop Han Solo inside of the carbonite. And I really like this feature. Only problem is, I really think that this carbonite needs to be redesigned, as Harrison Ford's hair does not fit inside of the carbonite. Not anymore. As you can see, it's pretty much just his hair. Now, if I take off his hair, put him back in, that's almost flat. It is almost flat. Look at that. Almost nothing above. And that is what bugs me a lot about the carbonite, is that A, it does not look like this Han Solo, and B, it doesn't fit Han Solo in it well. Which I guess would further the reason to have it floating, is so that you can hide this. You can hide that. And it looks better when you have it like this. It really does. But the problem is that. Yeah. So, let's put that out of the way, and let's just focus on the actual Slave 1 now. So this ship holds a lot of nostalgic value in my heart, as I really love Boba Fett and Jango Fett. Now, this ship has a lot of different playabilities and things you can move around. As you can move around the flap, move this section up and down. There's a small turret right here. This, I guess you could technically move it up and down. I wouldn't really think of doing that, but it works. You can move the panels up and down, even though it's not really meant for that, you can do so. You can move these little turrets right here. They're flick fire missiles. If you turn it over, there are two little red pegs that I will show you later. If you press down on it, it will fire the missiles. And then the cockpit area, where you can stick a Boba Fett right here. And I really thought this was cool. So this kind of revolves around gravity. So when it was on the ground, you could see that Boba was standing straight up, or sitting straight up, like so. But when he was flying, you could see that it was tilted back. And I think this mechanism gives off a really good effect of doing so, as depending on how the ship is held, it will move up and down, along with the side panels. Okay, so last detail that can be seen on the front is this little hatch where you can put Han Solo and Carbonite. Now, if you are going to move this ship around, I would not do so because this is very loose. And I remember picking it up earlier and Han Solo completely fell past the Sarlacc pit and down the Death Star chamber, if you know what I mean. Basically saying that he fell very, very far. He did not last much time in there. As soon as I picked him up, he fell right out. So I would not advise doing that, but I'm not going to stop you from doing so. So if I pick this up and turn it to the back carefully, you can see some of the detail and features on said back. Now, there's two red notches right there. That is what fires the flick fire missiles. And I've now realized that I messed up a little bit. But as long as you can move it up and down, it should be perfectly fine. At least that's what I think. If I can hold the camera and do so. Okay, that's good enough. Yeah, it works. Yeah, it works. Although I don't really know which way it was supposed to be, but yeah, it works. You just have to be able to move it. It works. And then we have the exhaust engines back here. The iconic engines when you see that back shot from Empire Strikes Back. Then we got some tubing. That's pretty cool. Some greebling. And then something that I really like about this set is the handle. Now I'm trying my best not to drop the camera or drop Slave One, as it took me a few hours to build. So you can pull out the handle like so, and you can guide around the ship, which is, I think that's a very cool feature, as if I remember correctly, most Slave Ones did not have this feature. So I think it's definitely something cool to include. So I am now going to talk a bit about the design of the ship from what the instructions gave away. Now, I thought this was an interesting build, as some of the parts that were included in it I had never really seen in person before, such as these 3x3 wedges that slope upward at the same time. I have never seen that before in person. So it was a bit of a surprise to see them, as I'd never done so. And I really like how this loop is formed over here. If I take one off, if I dare, you can see that this is the top formed right up here, and then this is one of the, I don't know what I would call this piece, but essentially this is like a little tooth that goes under this notch in here, and it tucks itself in, and then from there, so you just tuck it down a little bit. Oh, that's fun. Okay. Basically you can just tuck it in like that, and then put this back on like so, and it's secure. Now, something that bothers me about this is, you can see that as it's not accurate, but that, the blue, that bothers me just a tad, but it's understandable from the actual design itself. These two are pretty crucial parts to holding everything up. If I took those away, I would need to basically reconstruct the entire structure of this thing, and I don't want to do that. So I'm not gonna mess with it. Something else that bothers me just a tad is that you can see underneath there, and it doesn't bother me too much, as you can kind of see that in the actual scenes of Empire Strikes Back. So it doesn't bother me that much, but it is pretty cool. I really love this set. And funny story, my friend actually, in second grade, I think it was, he had the UCS Slave 1, and ever since I saw that, I was in love with this ship. It was, to me, it was like the golden jewel. So now that I have one, I am ready to do something with it. I don't know what I'm going to do with it, but yeah, Slave 1. I really love this set. It was such a great build. And with that being said, that's really the end of the video. So if you guys love this set as much as I do, slap the like button and comment down below. What is your favorite Star Wars set? It doesn't have to be out yet, or if you so wish to do so, you can have a rumored set. I want to hear from you guys. What do you like? Let me know in the comments below. I think that'd be an interesting read. And I will see you next time. Bye, guys.